Welcome back to Network Africa. Somalia's intelligence agency has arrested a journalist working for the Al-Jazeera English news network. Hamza Mohammed was arrested on the outskirts of the capital Mogadishu. Reports say he was arrested along with a photographer and a driver. The intelligence agency has not given a reason for the arrest, but sources say that Mr. Mohammed and his team are accused of filming in areas controlled by militant group Al-Shabaab. Al-Jazeera, which is based in Doha, has not yet commented on the report. A recent report issued by the United Nations says Somalia is the most dangerous place in the world for journalists, with more than 30 of them killed since 2012. The Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders is seeking to provide up to 1,000 outstanding young leaders from sub-Saharan Africa with the opportunity to hone their skills at a U.S. higher education institution in 2017. The fellowship is a flagship program of President Obama's Young African Leaders Initiative. Since its start in 2014, the program has empowered young people through academic coursework, leadership training, and networking. Now, joining me in the studio to tell us more about this are two fellows. Mr. Olumide Lawal was the national president of the 2016 Alumni Association, and Ms. Aishat Hussein, the national secretary of the 2016 Alumni Association. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, let me start with you, Aishat. Why did you apply for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, and what can you tell us about your experience as a 2016 fellow?
Thank you for that question. Hello, viewers at home. I applied for the program because one of the major criteria that the selection process said was we need exceptional leaders, and as far as I'm concerned, a leader is someone who is taking steps to make a difference, and I saw myself doing that. So I decided to apply, and so far so good. It's one of the best things I think I've done because of the kind of opportunities, exposure it has brought, and I think it's a very good thing to do.
So, Olumide, how has participating in the Mandela Washington Fellowship changed your personal and professional life?
Yes, for me, I have strong interest in national politics reform. So going to the US was an opportunity for me to learn best practices from US political stakeholders. I came to understand what it really means to be a political leader in terms of attitudes to service. And I also understand that the aspect of community service and volunteerism has been institutionalized in America. So for me, public service is more of being people-centered, being more of what you can give to the people, not what you stand to gain. I also understand that, as a matter of fact, the entire process of politicking and democratic process in the United States is far different from what obtains here in Nigeria. So it's been a transformation for me in terms of perception.
So what role does the U.S., that's Aishat now, what role does the U.S. mission in Nigeria play in making Mandela Washington Fellows give back to their respective communities?
I would like to answer that question by saying something Obama said during the town hall meeting. He said that try to lift people up to give back, because when you do that, it has a ripple effect. So the U.S. Embassy, that was, I think, last week or so, we held our reunion conference where all the fellows, all the 2016 fellows from all over Nigeria came to Lagos, and then we were assigned various projects where we came together and worked on, different community service, and that had to do with the work we do, community service and social welfare, and where we had the opportunity to table them down and see the problems they have, what we can suggest to help them, what the things we can suggest that can be of help to the projects, and moving forward, and how we can also include it in our own projects, and the experiences we had that can make a difference in such projects. So I think the U.S. Embassy is really doing a lot, and one of the things is bringing us together. Another thing again was giving us grants and access to grants. We can apply for grants that is going to aid our projects, and I think it's one of those things that is really remarkable that the U.S. Embassy is doing.
So Olumide, who can apply for this fellowship, and how does one apply?
Yes, as you rightly said, the fellowship is meant for people between the ages of 25 to 35. And if you feel what you're doing in your community is making a big difference, and if you think you're an exceptional leader, you're encouraged to apply. And this year particularly, there's emphasis on women participating and also people with disability, which they are strongly advised to apply this year because it closes just on next week Wednesday. So the earlier they do that, the better.
All right, Olumide and Aishat, thank you so much for joining us on
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, finally in the program, a court, I beg your pardon, in Mali's northern desert, a bitter conflict between rival Tuareg clans for control of the symbolic town of Kidal is undermining attempts to implement a 2015 peace deal and stabilize the Sahel. Analysts say that so long as its future is unresolved, tens of millions of dollars of Western aid and new security measures are on hold, benefiting increasingly brazen bands of Islamist militants.
The past struggle for Kidal means peace measures have suffered months of delays. Traders here say they are struggling to make a living, and residents complain that they cannot afford to buy food as prices of goods have nearly doubled after armed fighters from a mostly Tuareg group blockaded the town, which sits at a critical smuggling crossroads, last month. The absence of a legitimate army in the north has left a gap, allowing bands of Islamist militants who were scattered but not defeated by a 2013 French military operation to become increasingly brazen. Already, Islamic militants are launching more sophisticated attacks on UN peacekeeping force, MINUSMA, and are blamed for multiple strikes in neighboring countries, such as a prison attack in Niger on Monday. Today, transporting cocaine and migrants through Mali to Niger and Algeria is more lucrative, and attempts to dominate routes leading there from Kidal have been a major source of tension between the two Tuareg-led armed groups. Tit-for-tat killings are common in areas beyond the reach of patrols, and the United Nations says it is investigating allegations of serious human rights violations.
To describe the situation in Mali as anything but challenged right now would be an understatement. And I think the message at the General Assembly was very clear. There's a high expectation from the international community that there's real progress in terms of implementing the peace agreement, that there is more outreach by the South towards the North, and in particular the re-establishment of some of the basic services that are so required for people to live, whether it's opening schools or erecting clinics, whether it's making sure that basic government is in place and providing for people of the country of Mali.
Earlier this month, the international mediation team, which includes the UN, European Union, African Union and regional bloc ECOWAS, said it believed the situation could not continue without compromising the agreement.
And that's it on Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Temitope Fagbemi.